Okay, we're back for another video, and today we're going to talk about that time where I lost control. Specifically, my keyboard control. A while ago, I did something I tell my apprentice not to do. I had an open container of liquid on my desk, in this case milk, and I was looking forward to my donut, and it was the end of a really bad day, and it was donut centric. My day started, my autistic day started with not getting the donut that I asked for at a place, and I ended up paying for it as well. Went back to say, hey, where's my donut? And they said, oh no, you didn't put one on the order, but my receipt clearly showed that I paid for one. Either way, autistic moment, didn't want to question that. I come home, bought some donuts from the supermarket, thought I'm going to sit down and have my donut. Well, I ended up being clumsy and derailed that day. Tipped a glass of milk, half of it went across the end of this keyboard. This being a Logitech G910, it's actually a really nice keyboard. So I stripped everything off, cleaned it all out, all of that sort of stuff. Got it working again, although as part of the cleaning process, I've washed a lot of the grease out of the keys, so we have key bounce everywhere. Anyway, I was in the process of removing the keys, and I was using a chip puller tool, which I may have off to the side here somewhere. So initially with membrane keys, I can whack two spudges under and just pop a key up and they come up. These keys are a little different. You need an actual key puller. So I was using this. However, two of the keys that I lifted up before I worked that out, I did snap off a couple of the little, if we can focus in here, a couple of the little standoffs attached to these little bits in here. Now with these keys, let's move over and zoom in. I can show you why that's a problem. We zoom in here and we use my pointer. These little recesses in here, these little square holes, are really hard to get those bits out of. I had to invent a way to get those bits out, which meant taking a dressmaker's pin, which if you're not familiar is a pin like this, heating it with a lighter till it was hot, dropping into the molten plastic of the standoff, letting it cool, and then popping them back out. That worked with moderate success, enough to get it out. In any case, I then had to realize that I had bought a keyboard that actually was quality, had some support, and you can regain control by paying money. The other key that went missing was my arrow key. It also went missing. This is blue tack, by the way. I also managed to buy a proper key puller, so we can remove keys correctly, which I can demonstrate that now, having never used one of these proper key pullers before, but they do come up. Now doing that, I also realized that this one actually has some damage too, so I'm probably going to need another one of them at some point. There are probably a number of other keys along here that actually have damage. I will probably only discover them later on, but the down key at the moment is not causing me any real problems. So we will put the down key back. We will pretend that that's not a problem right now, and I'll order another one. In any case, I have some replacement keycaps. Plan to fit these. We're going to do this mostly in one cut, and you'll probably hear air conditioning noise in the background because I have multiple sclerosis, which is heat sensitive, and the Aussie summer is just around the corner. To give you a look at the good versus bad key, this is what's wrong with them. Okay, so there's about 16 bucks for the keycaps here, by the way. That should clip in. That's much better. The down one's not causing me too much problems. So that is, again, the good versus the bad one. So we can regain control simply by dropping in carefully. You make sure you get these things aligned properly before you put any force on them, which can be sometimes easier said than done, which is where the blue tack comes in. It allows us to get it in nice and squarely, and you can feel it register, and it should clip in and stay in once it registers. There we go, that feels like it's in the right spot. Blue tack off and push down a bit. That is better. Okay. I think that's the only two that are really busted. We will find the others at some point in the future. But these do have light spreaders in them, and something I wanted to do actually was take this thing and see if that will actually light up like that. I think we can cycle through the different colors behind here. There you go. It's interesting. But yeah, I'll keep these as a template for making something else. Either way, that is changing the keys on your Logitech G910. No, it's only a 5-minute video, but I thought it was worth detailing my struggles with it. Now, this key puller might strictly not quite be enough to do the job. Yeah, you can get it on there. We'll go over. Okay, it's just very stiff. I'm not sure if you could just simply push this over the top. I think that's how it's meant to work. So if we were to go, say, the Alt key here, push in here and then slide along and pull up. Okay, that's how that works. So that's a much more professional way of doing things. I'm going to have to put that back on. So it's interesting to take the learning process as we go. I've lost Alt. My Alt has gone missing. Hopefully nobody steals my Alt. Okay, here we go. Back in we go. Alright, so if you're going to pull your keys off, get one of these things. It's a cheap piece of plastic. It will save you a lot of heartache and probably 20 bucks worth of keys in the process. Alright, see you later. Hope it was an interesting one, and hopefully I helped somebody else not make the mistakes I did. So I'll see you later, and we will point to this for a thumbnail. How about that? Alright, see you later.